Let's learn about managing conversations in our story game. The conversation options, well, there's a few of them in the way that I've built this prototype. Let me highlight them or overview them for you at the start. The first scenario is just talk, where the NPC has something that they just say in response. It could be one thing or it could be multiple things in a row, but they just talk. They don't do anything else. They're just there to provide information. The second one is maybe that they have a quest to complete. This just might be something just as a side quest where you just complete the quest and then they say something at the end as thanks. Or maybe to be quest completion unlock something, where the NPC actually is required for you have to complete the quest to move on to the next thing. So think of this as like core game progression, this as side quests, and this is storytelling. So let's just maybe note that down here. This is side quest kind of idea, and this last one here is something for like progression. So we're able to do all three of these things in the way that I've built the conversation system in this game. So let's take a peek and see how this works. Now, to show you right off the bat, I'm going to show you the first NPC and the present that I've enabled just for now. Let's see what this NPC says when I talk to it. Press E to talk. Hello there. It's a whimsical woman. It says, hello there. Want something to do? I got a super important task I need completed. Please get me one present. If I talk to her again, it says, I still need a present. So the text updates after I've started the quest. So now I'm on this quest. We don't have a quest tracker built just yet, but that's okay. We can remember it's a simple enough experience. When I get close to this present, you'll see that it highlights, and now I can press E to interact with it. And now I'm holding a present in my inventory. And now if I return to this NPC, wow, you got me a present? You shouldn't have. Talk to it again. Thanks so much as a follow-up text. I love my present. But notice something. This wall that was here before has now been removed, allowing my character to progress to the next part of this experience. So this would be something like a progression example, where I actually have something unlocked that allows me to progress. We'll see some more examples like this to come, but one thing that I told you about in the previous video is that I actually want this present to be disabled and to be required to be unlocked by completing another quest, which we are going to build in this first NPC. Well, in your test file, this should actually be functioning, but I removed it from this so that we could kind of see how this is built together. So when you choose an NPC, they'll all have some of the same things. They'll have a renderer, which is how the visuals are shown. They'll have a collider, which is the thing that surrounds it that allows things to bump into it. And they'll have a rigid body, which gives it the ability to detect interactions. We don't have to worry about any of these things. We can ignore them because they're just kind of set it and forget it. What we need to worry about is the conversation manager and the conversation script. Let me guide you through some of these little details. At the start, we have NPC name, where we give this character a name that appears in the conversation. I called this character a mysterious man, but you can give it whatever name you want. The interact prompt is something that is the thing that pops up over it saying, press this key to interact. Which key will it say? It'll say this key. We can actually change this if we want. For example, if I make this key G, and I head back over here and head over to this character. If I want to make there to be some more diverse content, it says press G to talk, and I press G and it starts. Awesome. So I'm able to change that. I'm just going to make it E again for now. We do not have to do anything with the interact prompt or the NPC text UI. These things I've already connected and built for you. The only things you need to change are the NPC name and the interaction key. The final thing here is a list of conversations. For now, each character is only able to support one conversation. In the future, maybe I'll add in support for multiple ones as our games get a little bit more complex. But right now, one is enough. This should already be connected, but if it isn't, what you need to make sure that you do is you press plus to open up a slot and then drag the conversation in here. So this is how you connect the conversation that you're going to be designing below to your character. So this character now knows how to have one conversation. And this conversation has some different settings. Let's go through and make sure you pause and jump back if you need any more time spent thinking about this. Let's make this a little bit bigger. At the very top is the initial text. This is the text that appears when you first talk to this NPC. Right now, the list is empty. I can press this plus to add one line of text. Maybe I'll say, hello. When I do this, and I head over to talk to this character, I just head over this way, you'll see that I press E, and it says hello. Ignore that little visual glitchiness. I'll fix that sometime where it's updating a little bit delayed, but for now, it says hello. I can also press plus to add more lines of text. How are you? Nice to meet you. I can add as many lines as I want. You can make this a whole long, like, chapter of a book worth of story if you want. Every line that you add simply means it appears on a new slide or a new window here. Hello, click to continue. How are you? Click to continue. Nice to meet you. Once you reach the end, that part of the conversation ends until you trigger it again, and it repeats. Try not to put too much text in, otherwise it'll fill up the screen too much, but you can put in lots of storytelling in here as well. Awesome, so that's part one. This is the just talk to option, where you're just talking, getting a bit of information from the NPC. However, we want more to happen with this NPC, which is where require item comes into play. If I tick this box, it means the game is now expecting this NPC to request an item. Now I want to make sure this need item text is opened up, and I need to actually give it some text about what the NPC says for the item it needs. We're going to have this NPC accept apples. So I'm going to have it say, do you see those apples nearby? I'm a bit lazy and don't want to bother picking any up. I'm super hungry though. If you get me some, I'll give you a present. So we've built a bit of storytelling that is required, like I require an item. This is what he says to me while I'm requiring that item, while I haven't given him the item yet. Let's go and see if this functions. I recommend you test this out yourself. Maybe you want to throw in some different text or change the text that's already there to see how this works. And I talked to him. Hello, how are you? Nice to meet you. So I've talked to him once, got the introduction, and now I get the update on, hey, do you see those apples nearby? A bit lazy. Don't bother picking any up. Oh, this is a bit of a clunky interface, but that's all right. We won't worry about it too much at the moment. We're just prototyping some things. So he says this text over and over again until they get their quest item. Beautiful. The next thing I need to do is actually let them know what item I'm expecting. Here's where our prefabs come into play. Whatever collectible item I'm looking for, I need to connect that item into this required item slot. So I'm telling him I need apples. I could say I need a present, but I want this one to need apple. Notice this other NPC we talked to before has a present in its required item slot because that's what it needs. Also note, number of items is important. This person, let's say they need 3 apples. Only 1 present was needed, but we're going to make it this way, require 3 apples. And once they get the apples, we're going to have it say some received item text, like, thank you so much. These look delicious. And finally, the follow-up text will come after he's received the item. If I talk to them again, this is the text that will finally happen that will allow my NPC to kind of have the final statement. I'm going to say, munch, munch, munch. Can't type right. Munch, munch, munch. As I turn this off for a sec, I just want to show you this text working so we can really have a deep understanding of how these things all link together. Do remember that as soon as we enable required item, everything else here has to then be filled out. Hello. How are you? Nice to meet you. Talk to him again. See those apples nearby? I'm a bit lazy. Don't want to pick them up. I'm super hungry though. If you get me some, I'll give you a present. So let's go over here and let's pick up 1 apple. Right now my E key is to pick everything in the world up. And I'll get my 3rd apple and go back and talk to this guy. Thank you so much. Notice the items are now gone from my inventory. These look delicious. And follow up, munch, munch, munch. Munch, munch, munch. Again and again and again. So that's the final state of talking. However, we still have one more goal. This is side quest complete. Oops. Side quest complete. We've completed that character's story. Awesome. It feels good. We're happy. But there's no progression built in yet. There's one more step we have to do if we want progression to occur, which is say quest completion change is enabled. I want this quest being completed to change something. And then I want it to change an object. I have to connect the object to here. Which object do I want to change? Well, this present is the thing I wanted to have changed. So on this NPC, I make sure that this present is connected here. And finally, where it says turn on or off, if this is clicked check, it means I want it to turn on. If it's not checked, I want it to turn off. I want this present to be enabled when this quest is complete. Let's see how this looks in place. Let this game get loaded up to run. I know I'm going to need some apples. Let's just go start collecting them while I'm on the way. Collect them here. Go to the quest guy. Hello, nice to meet you. Let's get through some of this quest text. I don't have to, but I just want to show you. Okay, he asked for the apples. Let's go pick one other one up. I know I need 3. Thank you so much. And bam, look at that. The present spawned as a reward for the quest being completed. Now I can pick this present up, and I already know that this NPC is waiting for a present. So I'm going to go, and I get their initial text. They tell me they need a present, but I already have it, which means I can complete the quest right away, unlocking the store. So suddenly I have these 2 different conversation NPCs chaining their logic together to be able to help me progress in the story. Awesome. The last one I'll show you here is this sign, which technically has conversation information on it, but this one is only just storytelling. It's just saying, beware, don't come past. Let's go take a look at how this looks when we process it in the game. Come on over here. And notice that this is kind of blocking my path. I can click behind it, but I think it's going to block my progression. It's meant to stop me. Oh, I clipped through it. That's all right. Maybe I have to make it a little bit bigger to block the progression. But it says F to talk for this one. I changed this one's talking interaction, but under construction, do not pass or risk death. You've been warned. This one just tells story. How do we know that from looking at our scripts over here? Well, the conversation does not have required item clicked. It's just the initial text. We can ignore everything else below if we just want it to report text, which we want to do sometimes. Awesome. So this is how we work with these NPCs. And in the next video, I'm going to show you how to use my pre-built NPCs to create your own custom ones, as well as build your own from scratch.